Hello and welcome to another of our Techla Scotland YouTube interviews. I am delighted to be joined by Diane Gardner today.
Hello.
Diane is the current head of applied research in adult literacy at the City of Glasgow College and has been involved in a couple of super interesting projects over the years that we hope she's going to share with us today. So, hi Diane, lovely to have you with us.
Good morning, Pauline. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're very welcome. So, first of all, Diane, can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up in the job that you're in today?
Pure luck. No, maybe not. Maybe not pure luck. Oh gosh. I don't know. It started years and years ago. I suppose might as well start at the beginning. When my family and I had been in France on holiday, and we were coming, a driving holiday all over the place, great fun with the girls and everything. And we came home via Dover. And when we came out of the ship, and then there was a big first roundabout, a lorry in front of us stopped, and from underneath, maybe 5 or 6 people just emerged and then disappeared over the fields and everything, and that shocked me and the family. And within 2 weeks, our local churches were asking for volunteers to go and help asylum seekers. And I think that was 2000 or 2001, a long time ago. And I started volunteering, and before we know it, I had achieved that. I went and got a CELTA, and
Excellent.
I know, at Paisley Uni, yeah, oh gosh, it seems so long ago. I got a job in Reed College, teaching ESOL. Then I worked in a homeless project at Glasgow Simon community, building up their, working with people who had experienced homelessness, building up their educational opportunities. Then I got a job in Nautical College, which was great. So it was a
Oh
mixture
my
of, yeah, it was
goodness,
great. I loved
yeah.
that. Yeah, I loved it all. But so it was a mixture of ESOL and adult literacy. And that's really when kind of the idea for City Phonics started. I was presented with a student who couldn't read and write, and I had done CELTA, which was fantastic, and I still hold that as being a really, really good teaching qualification. And I had done, what was it? I can't remember the name of the adult literacy introduction. ITAL. Remember the
Yeah,
ITAL? Did
yeah.
all that. But there was nothing to teach me how to teach someone how to read and write. Oh, it was a bit of a nightmare. So I hate that, not knowing what to do with a student. So at the same time, I was teaching family literacies in the Gorbals, which was to help the parents help children. So that was really, really good. And at that time, there was money. It was fantastic.
Oh, the
Halcyon
good
days,
old days.
Pauline. Indeed, good old days. Indeed. So there was money for me to be trained in Jolly Phonics to help the parents. And the minute, and I think I've said this in the kind of blog I'd written for you, the minute and it was delivered by the girl who developed Jolly Phonics, Sue Lloyd. Oh no,
Yep.
does she work for the BBC? Anyway, I don't know. But anyway, I can't remember. But it was, I went, that'll do me. That'd be great for my students. But of course, there was no ants running up your arm or for blowing out a candle or
Yeah.
anything like that. And I developed City. Well, it was Focus on Phonics. Then it became City Phonics. Lots of iterations, changing all the time. And in effect, I'd created a program which not only taught my students how to read and write, but taught me, I suppose it's like any teaching, you build up your skills as you teach it, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I was trying to kind of merge adult literacy and ESOL because I was teaching a language. You know, the students had missed out, oh gosh, for a range of issues that I know we don't have time to go in for. But it was a step-by-step program, building on sound, but blending the sounds together, putting words together, creating I wanted to make sure the students would be able to create sentences and be aware of verbs and nouns, and so that they were so they knew how to communicate properly. And again, it worked particularly well with my adult literacy students, but also my ESOL literacy students, those who could talk the hind legs off a donkey usually, but
Yeah.
getting them to sit down and write was a big
Yeah.
problem. So and again I remember that the ESOL students love to drill. You know, they always love to drill anyway, to drill the
Yeah.
different sounds, and they loved working out the different or breaking the words into different phonemes. So yeah, so City Phonics was created And then City and Guilds came in and we were able to accredit it, which was fantastic. Gosh, but that was a really difficult process for
Yeah.
me getting anything. I'm sure a lot of your members, if they've worked in order to create an accredited programme, the quality assurance, which is quite rightly so, was really, really hard, and they were really tight on that. But no, we passed that, and so that ran for, we're still running at the moment, but kind
Yeah.
of thing. But I did lots of staff training on that throughout
Yeah.
Glasgow and the UK, Dundee, down in England as well. My
Yeah.
goodness. And then a couple of years.
Which is great, because it's showing that something that came out of your need to understand and know, and to try and find a methodology for your learners, then was created as something, this is like a training program, you've trained
Yeah.
other people, it's been accredited. And then I think sometimes the validation comes from other people
Yeah.
outside of your usual realm of existence going, this is great, I want to
Yeah.
use this. And that's how I first heard of you, after City Phonics had been around for a very long time. It wasn't that I've known about you or City
No.
Phonics for a really long time. It's actually you'd been out there doing your thing for quite a while.
Yeah, no, we had. Well, I had kind of thing, and I remember what was it was and I was in Byres Road in Glasgow, which is a really nice area. I was going to Marks and Spencer's and my mobile phone went off, and it was someone said, "Hello, are you Diane Gardner?" And I'm going, "Yes." I'm about to put the phone up. He said, "Are you the creator of City Phonics?" And I'm going, "Yeah." And this was Claire Collins, who's from, she's her own literacy consultancy, but also just about responsible for literacy in England, and
Wow.
who is funded by the government through the Educational Training Foundation to create the post-16 phonics tool, which in effect was created in order to meet the needs of students, primarily 16 to 19-year-old, but more for everyone who's got a literacy issue. And I was a co-author on that program. It was, gosh, it was unbelievable. I was invited down to, can't remember, Sheffield, I think, yeah. And I was spending time writing this program with people who I had referenced when I was at university. It was
It's
unbelievable.
amazing.
They
Yeah.
and it, just a normal guy, and
Yeah.
Maxine, but oh my goodness, I was overwhelmed for the first hour or so. You ever get that when you can't speak? It was
Yeah.
just in awe.
You're thinking someone's going to wake up and go, you
Yeah,
shouldn't be here.
actually, yeah, because it was one of the guys who was, there was about 20 people there, and one of the guys said, we were broke into big groups, and they said, well, we were all wondering why you're here. And then I had to tell them all about it. So it was a bit scary, but daunting. But again, what that did was it opened my eyes to what else was happening in the UK. And again, it was great for me because I was able to see the difference in how the approach to adult literacy is in England as it is up here. Everything for us in for adult literacy specifically, and for ESOL literacy, is a bit called based on the social practice model. It's all about the student. We do a personal learning plan. We find out about them, and you know what it's like for ESOL literacy. There has to be a context.
Of
It
course.
has to make a difference. If you want to help the people when they take their wee ones to school or when they go to the shop, so it all has to be everyday language. Whereas elsewhere in the UK, it's all about tick boxing for government initiatives and everything, and once they have that, then gosh, the students are going to benefit as well. So I mean, for me, I was like standing up, kind of proclaiming Paulo Freire's work to this group of people, which I was really scared about, but they were, oh yeah, I never thought about that kind of thing. So fantastic opportunity. And now that we're, I don't know, 3 or 4 years down the line, we're now in citizen literacy. We have created an app, so that the stuff I create is now on my phone.
I
It's
know.
unbelievable.
Tell me a bit more about citizen literacy. So how did you come up with the idea? What was the
Yeah.
sort of start of it all?
Well, again, it was part of my job is I was a curriculum head for community and widening access in the college, and I'd always been responsible for looking for funding for community work. It was just a reality. It was traditionally through Glasgow's Integrated Grant Fund, but then more recently through Public Contracts Scotland. So we worked with the NHS and all sorts of different things. So I was always looking for different opportunities. And one of those opportunities that didn't actually come about, I had worked with our senior learning technologist, John Casey, and this was to do it was a wee bit like Erasmus, you know, when you would hopefully want to be able to spend time discussing with different people throughout Europe about opportunities and then finding out what they're doing. And this was, we were hoping to do this with literacy and numeracy, and it didn't work out, but it meant that John and I were able to sit down and I was able to tell him more about my work. And him and a couple of the people that he thought would be interested came and sat in my class, and they called me to a meeting and said, look, we think that we can create an app out of what you're doing. And I'm going, oh, that's great. And what that does is fantastic, because it addresses two main issues: literacy and digital awareness. And everyone knows that we need both. We can't. And then, you know, they were shocked by the levels of literacy, first of all in Glasgow and then the UK. And then John was doing his research. He said, I cannot believe that. You know, 1 in 5 in the UK, 1 in 2 in prisons, 1 in, you know, I mean, gosh.
The stats are quite surprising. I think a lot of people would be surprised at our literacy statistics for Scotland and the UK.
Yeah. And I think I was reading something recently that our literacy levels for parents is better for parents than it is for their children. And it's as if we've taken a step back. It's shocking.
It is. And that's really surprising. I think a lot of people would be really shocked by that.
It would be, because, you know, there's always this kind of understanding that the next generation improves and improves and improves. And in fact, I'm sure I read something in UNESCO about that, and I've been speaking about it. And and at that time I said, well, I don't want to wait for that to happen. That's why we want to help our students right now, kind of thing, rather than waiting for generations to improve just naturally. So we applied for funding. We're not back, but we got funding, my goodness, from Nesta, which is I can't remember what it stands for. I'm sorry. National Education, Science, Technology and the Arts.
That's it.
Yeah, so it's a UK government funding. So we got funding from Nesta and Nesta Scotland as well, and UFI used to be called the University for Industry thing, you know. But again, they funded different aspects of what we do. So that they funded me full time for a year. They funded John to be the program manager for about, I think, for half of his time. Funded 2 digital technologists. They funded the other half of our team, who are the evaluators. So that's Claire Collins and her colleagues, who, in effect, if you had looked at our website and when we launched the prototype in October, and people were invited to feedback. And so what they've done, what Claire and her team have done, they have collated all that information. There was interviews like this, or interviews on the phone, questionnaires. So they're at the moment, actually, they're doing all that and scribing it all and putting it together. And we're going to, you know, we've got final reports and all this.
Of course, yeah, of course.
But yeah.
So can you just explain a little bit of how the app works? What is the app sort of trying to do for a learner?
Yeah, well, what the app does is it introduces learners to sound, to phonemes. The first 5 lessons are based on Matspin. So instead of Satpin, I've changed it. And again, our ESOL colleagues, I do miss the I don't know, the excellence in ESOL when we can sit down and talk about tenses and things, you know, kind of thing. Sorry. Anyway.
Not at all.
I know, verbs and all. Anyway, so we introduce the students to sounds. We get them to recognise the sounds through different activities, listening, reading. Again, the app uses artificial intelligence to recognise people's voice, also writing. And now there's lots of gamification, so there's lots of different games that the students can go through in order to build up their skills. And again, the way I'd created City Phonics relates to, oh my goodness, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the chap, but the Sigma 2, who was it that made, anyway,
I'll come back to you.
It will come back to me. Anyway, gosh, that's annoying. Never mind. I should have prepared properly for this. Right. Anyway, so the way that the course is structured, it helps the app to be structured as well. So the students are introduced to 7 sounds in a range of different ways. They have to evidence that they know the sounds by clicking, you know, kind of thing. So once they've done that, then they blend the sounds together. and that they do that by, you know, kind of moving the letters, the graphemes together, but also through speaking. And then from that, they're introduced to what we call new words. So words that are really difficult to break down and blend, like the and are and we and she and he. And they don't know it at the time, but by the end of lesson 4, they have conjugated the verb to be.
Excellent.
And
I like that it's done by stealth, learning by
it is
stealth. They don't.
conjugation by stealth.
Yeah.
But because of that, they're creating sentences and questions using the words that they have blended together, or the words they have learned as whole words. They have learned punctuation through capital letter at the beginning, full stop at the end. They have been introduced to nouns, proper nouns, when to use, and yeah, there's a big focus on the alphabet as well. So at the end of every lesson, we're introduced to the mode of the alphabet and also alphabetical order. So I'm trying to make sure that my students are prepared as best as possible.
Of course.
Yeah, lesson 5 is formative. I don't make any excuses for that. People are saying,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know whether they should. Yeah, because a good formative assessment, what that does, it evidences what the student has learned in order to prepare them for the next bit. And that's what I want. I can't have students moving on to the next part unless they know what they're doing here, because I don't want them to fail. I don't want them to fall down. And again, the way the app has been created, it means that they can go back to different activities. In lesson 1, there's 13 activities. In lesson 2, there's 22 activities. Lesson 3, it's just about the same. So we've got lots and lots of opportunities for them to go back. And there's hardly any text in the
Interesting.
app.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there are videos. I'm in my attic at the moment, but it is a recording studio. I do have a big fancy camera. I do have fancy lights here and everything. So for every activity, there's a supporting video, which can show, in fact, tell the students what to do next.
Oh, amazing.
So that's the app, but as well as doing that, we've created teaching resources and classroom resources, which will be available in the summer for purchase, kind of thing. There'll also be a web app for teachers if they want to subscribe to it, kind of thing. So yeah, so we're working on that actually with our funders who are really supporting us through creating a business plan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's lots happening. It's very exciting.
It's hugely exciting because, correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, but this is the first literacy app ever.
Yeah, I don't need to correct you. You're right, kind of thing, you know.
So, I mean, this is a phenomenal step forward. And I think what is really even more interesting at the moment is how timely something like an app for an ESOL learner or a literacies learner is, because at the moment that is how we're connecting with our students, isn't it?
Yeah, and the main thing I should have said, first of all, is free. There's no cost to the app at all, nothing at all. The classroom resources, which will be kind of available on a print on demand. So if you've got a class of, I don't know, 20 or something, in effect the download is free. But if you want a printed version, then that costs, because we send it away to the printer and everything. But we want everything for the student will be free. That's we're called citizen literacy for a particular reason. We want to support our students, and we are only too well aware of our student situations. It's not an easy thing to be confronted with, but also it sounds terrible, but it's a wonderful thing. See the feedback we've been getting. Oh my goodness, I mean, you know, sitting talking to my students, and there was one student, and I hope we're trying to work our way in to make this and put this into a video. A student, kind of mid-50s, never been able to read and write. Her daughter contacted me because she'd got into our local library in Nottingham, and they said, my mum, this girl was at university, her brother's at university, and you know, it is, you know, mum does everything for everyone. And, oh my goodness, mum can't read to the grandchildren. Thing. The librarian contacted me, blah, blah, blah. It was a long story. So the daughter contacted me, and I said, look, there's the only way I'm going to be able to contact your mum if she either has a mobile phone or a laptop. Both of them they bought a laptop and a mobile phone. And within a week, she had started with me.
Oh,
Now, that
brilliant.
woman went to the shops 2 weeks ago and was able to phone her daughter and tell her the name of the shop that she's been going to for 30 years because she was able to spell the name of the shop.
That's incredible,
I mean,
isn't
yeah,
it? That's so life affirming.
it
And
is.
but it's
Yeah.
also, I mean, this is one of the reasons I love my job so much. It's
Mhm.
that empowerment,
It
being
is.
able to give our students tools to either improve or just succeed in everyday
Uh-huh.
life.
Yeah,
It's
and
incredible.
she's used the phone just to be able to contact
Mhm.
people, but now she's learning on it. She loves the app. She
That's
keeps them
good.
going over, and lessons 1 to 5, absolutely loves them.
Mhm.
She did her formative assessment with me last week, did so well. I mean, it just, I mean, life, as you know, is difficult just now, and
Mhm.
for absolutely everyone, for lots and lots of reasons. But my job sitting up here in the attic is made so much better when we
Yeah.
see that it's making a difference in someone's life. That gives me the kind of impetus to move forward and to say it's okay to work on a Sunday night in order to prepare for a Monday, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
I
fantastic.
couldn't agree with you more. And
Mhm.
actually, you've summed up what would have been a final question from
Oh,
me
right,
is,
oh, sorry.
no, not at all, Diane, not at all. Is, why are you so passionate about this field of work?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not political in any way. I'm proud to be Scottish. I'm very proud to come from Glasgow, but I'm ashamed. I am ashamed that there are people who struggle their way through life because they had a rubbish time at school, or they didn't go to school, or they were abused, or they just had a rubbish situation. And I mean, I had a lovely family life,
Mhm.
all this sort of thing, and I never thought to think, that someone else did, and now I think it's my chance to kind of give back,
Sure.
really. And I
Mhm.
think, when I was totally driven to help when I saw, asylum seekers, I didn't sleep for nights after that,
Mhm.
thinking about these people. And again, it's usually fun. It's
Yeah.
great fun in class. You just make people, especially for adults, and that's the difference between adult education and teaching wee ones, is that people, you've got to make sure that they want to come, and they're going to learn something that's going to
Yeah.
make a difference to their day, and
Absolutely.
not just downloading stuff. Or I remember when I was doing my CELTA, they said, Diane, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I said, well, if the wheel doesn't fit my students, then probably have to do a wee bit of kind of jiggery pokery kind of thing,
Yeah. Great
so
Scottish word there, a bit of jiggery pokery.
indeed. I know.
An underused phrase.
Yes,
Um,
indeed.
I think what you've done with the app in particular, I mean, I'm a great fan of your City Phonics work,
Thank you.
but I think the app is just like such a monumental step forward in terms of accessing people that maybe are nervous about class, or it reinforces what they learned
It
in
does.
class.
Yeah.
And also, as I said before, a timely, useful thing for students to hook
Mhm.
into at the moment when they're
Mhm.
extremely, I mean, some of our students are extremely isolated, which
Mhm.
is concerning. So I mean, I have to applaud you, Diane.
Oh no, that's
I
fine.
I
Thank you
think
very
it's
much.
incredible what
Yeah,
you've
well,
done.
part of a really an amazing team. Really, it's just been because we all bring different forms of
Of
passion
course.
to that. I mean, as I say, I was blown away when a girl phoned me, kind of thing, and I was part of this post 16 phonics tool. But
Mhm.
also the fact to see we come together to work, it's just it's amazing. Maybe it's because we're hundreds of miles away from one another. I don't know. I don't know. It might be different.
If you're next door in next door
Exactly.
offices,
I
yeah.
know. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, we all share the same passion. And we're obviously boosted by people like yourselves, or the interest we've had from all over the world, from
Mhm.
Ireland, from Australia, Canada, Africa.
That's
Um,
incredible.
we had been due to kind of work with Spain and Austria in order for an Erasmus project, but that's, as you know,
Mhm.
that's not going to work at the moment. We might be able to follow this Turin kind of
Yeah.
line. I don't really know, yeah, but that's kind of had to take a step back. But yeah, it's
There's
been
obviously a lot of interest because is interest because there's a need there, isn't there? It's because
Yes,
people
yeah.
need something, or they haven't found what they're doing so far works, so they want a different approach or a better approach. So it's
Yeah.
the fact that you have lots of interest definitely reaffirms that there's a need for your work.
Yeah,
So
and I know phonics doesn't work for everyone. We totally get that. But what I, especially for the tutor resources as well, and again, I've got lesson plans, tutor notes for every activity, you know, additional references, everything that I want a tutor to be able to go. We used to be able to take the white folder down from the, you know, we obviously don't do that anymore. But I want tutors to be able to take what they need and teach it, because I've worked in FE for long enough to know that some tutors will be told, you've got a class this
yeah.
afternoon. Oh, you've not taught it yet? Tough. Sorry.
Have fun.
Sorry. Have fun. But it'll all be there. And there's tutor videos as well. And
Yeah.
I'm doing tutor training and stuff like this.
No, it just sounds incredible. I have to say, as a practitioner in ESOL and somebody who, for this year, I have a literacy group as well.
Good.
People doing work like you is a godsend, because it's needing, sometimes you need to have a different approach, and somebody
Yeah.
coming in going, have you thought about this, or have you tried this, or look at this app, is helpful, to say the
Yeah.
very least, to say the very
Yeah,
least.
well, it was to help, you know, as many people as possible. And and to be totally selfish, and I love it. I cannot,
Good.
if you say I'm writing resources, and I've got music on in the background, or I'm teaching, because I teach, you know, twice a week as well, and trying out the resources. I cannot believe I get paid for doing this, honestly.
Good on you.
It's
Good on
brilliant.
you. I think that's great. But that's half the battle. God, my goodness, if we could all have a job that we love, then,
Yeah.
you know, you want to go to work and not be resentful of the time you're spending there. So,
I know.
oh, well, Diane, it's been such a pleasure to chat this morning. I wish you and the team all the success
Thank
with
you.
the app. It absolutely deserves it. And thanks very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.